You did really good.
Okay. I'd like to call the Wall City Council meeting, January 4th, 2024 meeting to order. First of all, wishing everyone a happy new year. And would you proceed with roll call then, Carolyn?
Welsh, here. Morgan.
Kind of. Here.
Stan Anderson.
Here.
Husted.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Hawk.
Here.
We do have a point.
Thank you. Let us stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. And Josh, would you lead us this evening, please?
It's been fun.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which I stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carolyn, do we have any order of business for emergencies? And do we have an attendance on Zoom?
Yes, council.
Okay, thank you. And that moves us right to agenda item number 6, the police report.
So the sergeant wanted to let you guys know there was hours that needed to be updated still. So the report you guys do have is just the basics. So there's some hours that we hit the target hours like we did the month before. So other than that, I went to the school. I talked with the sophomores, juniors, and seniors. We got really good feedback from that. I don't know if you heard anything, Maddie.
No, I just have you on. Thank you for that.
Okay. So other than that, I mean, I did get Holly over at Common Sense did get a fake ID. One of the things that we noticed with that was it won't come up in my system, but it will scan for beer. It will scan for alcohol. So if you have a scanner and they scan the alcohol and they scan the back of the ID, it will scan it. It'll allow it to state your quote unquote. But it is, they're fake. Found out they are about $25 on a place called ID Bug, but that's just one place that they could get it from. Bar checks, I don't know if we noticed, we put that on there because there was some, the city asked that we kind of start doing that a little bit more, which we have been. Everything's been going fine with that. Some people are upset because we're at the bars a little bit more often. And we got to let them know, hey, I'm not here to see how catch you later type stuff. It's just to make sure everybody's being safe. And let them know, hey, if you need a ride, give us a call. I'd rather give you a ride than anything else.
Yes, because I noticed you've done 18 of those.
Yes, sir.
So that's good. And you're
Christopherson and the other ones probably have done them, but I wasn't able to get those updated. This is probably the business check.
okay.
So we wanted to get this at the line for the bar checks just to kind of see it, so you see that.
Okay.
I noticed the cars, your car down there, not your car, but a car down in front of the bars.
Yeah, I tried when I'm on shift, especially the evening times. You guys all know majority of the time it's we work 2 evening shifts each one of the days. So we try to stop it. What's going on? How's everything going? Like I said, we met with the kids. I met with the kids. I took highway safety or the highway trooper Kyle Knievel that lives here in town with me. And we kind of talked to him. You know, it was a basic talk. We understand. We were all teenagers and kids. We thought we were going to get away with everything in the world, but we just asked them to be safe. I said I'd rather you call me and get a ride for me, and then I'll let your parents deal with it the way they. My parents probably dealt with me when I was growing up. And under those circumstances, so I'd rather that than anything else.
So basically you're building a relationship and that's huge.
I'm trying.
Yes.
No, I think it's doing good. Brought up Brody a couple times and finished about my kids a couple times, so they're all.
I would, like I said, I was pretty proud of Brody the other night. If you didn't hear, he came out to an accident, pretty bad one, and he was right there on top of everything that we needed that I asked him pretty quick. So thank you for that. And I let him know that too.
Because Brody has joined the fire department, right? And that is awesome. And if he can be the example and bring other kids on board to be volunteers.
Yeah.
And they probably learn, I mean, they do learn a ton.
Well, I don't know what kind of program have here, but when I was in Martin, we had the Explorer program. Is that kind of what you're?
This is just a junior firefighter.
Yeah, so, be one of those things, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but they would, especially, just my opinion is probably get like an Explorer or junior firefighter of the year type of award, something that just really like for the work point of view, because I know I got that one year and it's a big thing.
Yeah, he was pretty nervous that he didn't do it.
Oh, he did great. That's okay.
So
So,
that shows that he, that
Right.
he's interested in it, most people just sit back and not work. No, it was,
As opposed to.
right, no, it was cool.
we did say, he did help save Christmas for a couple of kids that night too, because she was on her way home with Christmas presents. Another thing I was looking into and I was hoping to get with you guys, if you guys have any recommendations, is when it comes down to the DUIs and the drinking, is I'm going to want to start looking to getting with the kids that have vehicles, kind of started like, not an Uber program, but pretty much the same thing, like, hey, $10 a person, I'll give you a ride, so you give you a ride home. Something like that, just to keep more people from drinking and driving. Something I wanted to look at. Working on that slowly but surely.
Awesome.
Very good.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have any conflict of interest with anything that's going to be on the agenda tonight?
I do.
Okay. And the minutes were included in the packet. I'm asking for a motion to approve the minutes for the December 21st council meeting.
So moved. Second.
Okay, Rick has moved and Dan seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the city of Wall claims, the fire department, the library and the cemetery claims were all also involved or included in your packet. Are there any questions on any of those claims that Carolyn could answer for us, as well as the expense report for the month or to date anyway for January? Any questions on any of those claims? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the claims for the City of Wall Fire Department, Library and Cemetery? Kelly's moved.
Good.
Dan seconded. Any further comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to the review of the on-call schedule, the employee overtime, sick and vacation report, water usage, sales tax report, and that would be the complete sales tax report for 2023, as well as the ambulance financials. Is there any questions that you want to mention at this time? Sales tax and BBB are there.
The water loss, yeah, 10% overall. Well, 12, yeah, 12. Yeah, I think after switching over and in between. I think after just switched over to, the assistant finance officer and stuff, some stuff we got missed. So I think once we just need to get back into the swing of it, I think we can get it figured out.
They're happy with 10%, 10% or under.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, moving on to item 11, we have a visitor, Ryan Dinger. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you. Well, I spoke to Carolyn here a few weeks ago, and I guess I'm here to represent the baseball program and some urgent repair needs and some of the fence around the fields. If I go back, I can't tell you when it was, but when the new football field was put in, I got an estimate from, the same Foothills fencing company. And if my memory serves me right, it was about $75,000 to do the entire complex, both fields. And, now that figure is closer to 85,000, obviously with a 7-8 year window, however long that's been. But, how it came about again is I was contacted by the Greater Wall Fund, with Brett and the guys involved with that. They just approached me and said, hey, we have some funds that haven't been asked for, that are carried over here. Would you guys have any need for some things at the baseball field or the program in general? And I said, well, let me think about it. And, over the last few years, we've received memorial money and some funding and donations from memorial funds, and people just want to help out the program, and this is an opportunity to utilize some of those funds as well. And, so I brought out Casey with Foothills Fencing a few weeks ago. We toured the whole complex, and you guys don't have copies of this, do they, Carolyn?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, do, okay, so I'll just explain kind of briefly what do you have option 1, 2, and 3? And then the Little League field is 41,000. Okay, so the Little League field one, that is the T-ball field that's closest to the airport to the south. We're not looking at anything to do with that field at this point in time. What we would do is take some of the supplies from the north field where the concession stand is, and utilize some of those material to make repairs. We had put in new dugouts and made some nice repairs on the T-ball field in the last 5 years. Well, everybody knows what our winter was like last year, and some of those posts are now a foot off the ground and U-shaped and bent all over the place. So we can make those repairs and make that look nice and make it work. On the big field, if you go down along that road that goes out to the treatment plant, up that gravel road there, just along the industrial park area. There's several steel posts that are in there with the fence balanced on it, because the posts have all snapped off over time. Obviously, snow's drifted in there and busted them up for a decade plus. And when I had the Black Hills fencing guy there, he's like, you know, this isn't legal. I mean, kids could run into this post, and I'm like, most of our kids hit to left field, so right, not a problem. But I never thought of that option. The kid runs into it, hits a steel post right in the middle of the head. So we got mostly right-handers, so we don't hit the right field too often. But what option 1 would be is strictly from the covered dugout on the big field, around the backstop, which is your big fence, your most money involved there, and then around to the other side of the dugout, to the each dugout closest to home plate. And that's the 20,752. And then the option 2 would be the fence going from the dugout on the west side, and then on the south side, all the way down to the home run fence to the foul ball corners. That's option 2. And then option 3 is a complete home run fence. And at this point in time, the home run fence is in the best shape. It's not great, but on the flip side, we're not playing. I think back in the day before I moved here, there was 6 softball teams, and it was a home run fence was much more important than it is now. We're lucky to hit the fence with anybody batting. I mean, we only played up to 8th grade or so there, and we've had a few that go over the fence, but it's not an issue. So looking at option 1 and 2, trying to combine those two with the memorial fund and funding that we have, I can anticipate 11,000-ish that we can cover of that. And then talking to Brett on the Greater Wall Fund, they kind of like to be the last people in to finish up the project. So we're looking for, between the Greater Wall Fund and the City of Wall, for a total of $20,000 to complete option 1 and 2 is what that figure comes. And I can't speak for the Greater Wall Fund, but they'd be willing to kick in a pretty good chunk of that 20 grand too. And I don't know what the city's position is on that. I know they asked me if it was who owned the grounds and facility. I said, well, as far as I know, it's all city property up there and everything. So that's where we're at on that. And And we're wanting to try to do a big presentation at the Christmas tree auction sale, but I didn't have these numbers back then, so we just said we'd hold off and wait until we have some numbers to work with there, so. So I guess whatever we'd be, or the city would be willing to help contribute to that. I mean, I can go through the numbers, but we're going on our 14th season. And I think we ran over 1,500 kids through there, so
How many were involved last summer?
well over 100 again. We've averaged over 100 every year. So,
Okay,
I mean, I think in our peaks, there was 120, 25. And I don't know, West is just over 100. So, and now we have multiple teams coming over from New Underwood participating. And we've hosted tournaments in the past with the Badlands Baseball League, but with the condition of our facility, we can't use both fields safely, and it just isn't able to function for some of the tournaments that we used to do. So, and then Phillips in the same boat we are, they suffered significant damage, and they just replaced the softball field at Phillip, and I think that entire complex was about 40 grand with what they could roughly tell me. I didn't see the figure, but they did the entire field though for 40 grand at Phillip from the insurance money they got from the other field. And that was just done last year. So yeah, I anticipate, I mean, if we delay it more, the numbers will keep increasing, but I guess from a safety standpoint, and I mean, obviously, I didn't realize it was as bad as it was till I made the walk. I guess you guys mowing up there on the T-ball field, which nobody ever hits it to the fence. We're walking back there and measuring it with the wheel. And it's like somebody didn't want to walk all the way around the fence and then just cut a hole through the fence, peel the fence back. And I don't know where that came from. I was like, oh, I didn't know this was out here. So, and in theory, if we ever get to the point where we want to do the Little League field, I mean, most of you experienced T-ball games there. We don't need a home run fence. I mean, we could literally put a nice backstop in, 2 dugouts, and a small chunk of fence that gets you to third and first base, and let it be wide open on the side. So the only bad part of that, you might have other kids running onto the field because you're not keeping them off, but we don't need to go elaborate if we were ever to fully renovate that field too. So, but yeah, is there any other questions?
well, first of all, I noticed the pictures in the Current of the number of kids that you had involved over the last summer, and I think that's great. And I too noticed I regularly take a drive out and about town, and as I was driving out there just very recently, I noticed how that field is in need of repair without question.
Yeah.
But the other thing that came to me was the fact that with the industrial park out there, and now there'll be building soon.
Yep.
That's a major our township road is a major road to a grain elevator with semis coming by there.
Yep. We've
expanded the airport, so there's promise of more activity around there. And in the past, and I think it was Zach Hoffman that came to us and was talking about moving that. If we're going to put this kind of dollars into it, should we not look at a place that would be located close to the sports complex that we have near the school? And recently, Rapid City, Sturgis, and Spearfish have been running media, in fact, just this week, about how these sports programs bring people to town.
Yep.
And Black Hills Football League has certainly proven that. When you have 3 football games going on at the football field on a Saturday, I would, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but I would like you to look at relocating that.
That's been our, what do I want to say, reason for not pushing this earlier. Is because we kept being told the baseball fields would be moved, the baseball fields would be moved. We're just kind of putting Band-Aids on things to make them get by. Potentially at one time, I think, did the railroad or Dakota Mail move up with the old football field? You guys? Okay, I know that was a talking spot when it was up for sale that, and then somebody measured it and said it wasn't big enough for 2 fields. Down here where the football field is, I think with the construction that's already been there, with the businesses out there, I don't even know if that space is big enough anymore. So I don't know if there's another option in town that you can think of for space, but, I don't.
Do you,
That's been our holdup, is I haven't really pushed it much, and I just kind of left it ever since I inquired about it after our football complex was done. And like I said, when the Greater Wall Fund approached me on it, and I was like, well, I guess we can look into it and see, because it doesn't appear we're, but yeah, my thoughts are exactly the same as industrial park expands, somebody wants that area for whatever purpose. I mean, yeah, we don't wanna invest 30,000-40,000 into something that needs to be, I mean, you can't move it and replace it, but that's still a lot of unnecessary labor, but, I don't know where a spot we can inquire or be or look, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, that's my other concern too, that, we don't wanna put money into something and have it all done and then say, well, we need you to leave, and
yeah,
so, but yeah, I don't know.
I guess that's what, well, first of all, the finance committee would be first to say that our budget this year is already set and we are focused on 4th Avenue.
Yep.
So dollars right now are very tight. And this isn't a decision I would think that would need to be made tonight, but I would like you to get a group of those dads together, get your heads together, and come up with a different place, especially if Greater Wall wants to invest in that. That is a big deal. And let's see where else we could put that football field to make it fit in. I mean, baseball. No, we're not moving the football field, sorry. But where else could we put that softball?
Kingfish and Parks have that. Kevin Robert. They have money to apply for that, like, cause I think they must, when they first built that field
Yeah,
out there.
we got a bunch of money from the
Yeah,
state.
cause I have to make sure that there's a sign there in the pool and. I think.
Yeah, cause if anybody's got other, I mean, any ideas where, like, if we, obviously, is there any city property land? I don't think there is any city property land that the city already owns that we can build on. That'd be the most economical way if it's already there, but I mean, other than that, well.
Well, I'll
I think
get
we
you
got
the
it.
names of the dads that have talked to me about, we need that to be in a different place.
Oh, yeah, no,
And you guys get your heads together.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the direction, unless you guys have a different opinion on that, but why don't we do it right and get it in a place where you could host? Well, just do it right.
well, yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of, I mean, we're going on our year 14 and I don't know, it's probably been, I don't know when the football field was put in, but that was kind of our big holdup, and I think I even held it up, cause like, well, I think the industrial park was maybe in the works, but just talked about, and the safety, kids riding out there on their bikes, and then.
It's
Well, when they
scary.
moved from the old football to the new football field, and I think one of you guys made a run at it once, and then, somebody went, I didn't have anything to do with it, but they measured that old football field, and they said, well, it won't fit out here, and it's low ground, it's gonna be wet, and it won't fit. I mean, location wise, it's perfect, but that's not an option now either, so.
And it never dries out.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, I mean, you'd have to raise it up to make it suitable for something like that, so. But no, we can look into some other options there from a, like, now on the construction, now you brought that up, not to change the subject, but, for traffic flow for this spring, how will the kids, parents, fans, all that access the baseball fields with that construction project going on?
Come in off 109.
Yep,
Yeah,
you'll be able to access it on that side of the E free.
yes,
Okay,
easily.
yep. Somebody had
You-
asked me that and I said, oh, I'd love to ask.
There'll still be access on that street, but
Okay.
the best
They
way
won't have to
is to
go
come
up
around.
Great Road and across the gravel. Up north.
No,
Nope, that sounds fun.
well, they can, but
Well, yeah.
anybody from the north would be coming that way. Yeah.
Yep. I just know a few people start asking me and I'm like, yeah, I guess that's gonna be somewhat of a concern, but people still get, well, that's not that difficult to get to. So, all right. If anybody has any other thoughts or land options? Okay. Where do you know? Yeah. Cause who owns the land between the construction and the football field? Is that all school?
Mhm.
They sold that chunk off to Dietrich.
That and the school never did own that, that was Dan's.
Oh, good. Yeah, I know at one time there's talk of maybe a field out there, I don't know if that was a county station piece, that was actually in the original drawings, I think that, like, potential baseball fields there. Yeah, they hate it. So.
Okay, well, let's put it out there. You're looking for a place to do it right.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, well, thank you very much.
thank you,
Thanks.
Ryan.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on then. Is there anyone here with public comments? They would have 3 minutes to visit about something. Okay. Then that moves us to item 13, and that's a combined election with the Wall School, and the election would be April 9th. So Carolyn, can you talk us through this?
So it's an agreement that we I bring to you every year when we have an election. And the advertising is also, does include WASTA. But the school has chosen to only have one polling place in town. Where they used to have one down at WASTA, so they chose not to do that. So, but WASTA will begin the advertising of it, and they then continue on having an election, and everybody else wouldn't have to share any other costs besides that with them. So it's pretty spelled out in the agreement. And I have talked to Amy at the school, who will have on the agenda for next week, and Nikki, and the meeting was coming up Monday, and they were all in agreement to do that, but the boards to approve. So.
Okay. So we would need to move forward with the motion to approve this. And this is an agreement. Yeah, I was looking to see if it was a resolution or, but it is an agreement then with the school district. Do we have any thoughts? Any?
Something we do every few years, right?
Right, yeah, we've done it before. Last year was our off year. Since we went for the 4-year term, we have an election every other year, so.
I make that motion.
Okay, so Jerry has moved.
Second.
And Kelly has seconded that we do approve the agreement with the combined election publication between the city of Wall, town of Wasta, and Wall School District. Any other questions or concerns? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, then council up for election.
I have this listed there so everybody was aware. So it would be Mike Anderson from Ward 1, Kelly from Ward 2, and Dan Hawk from Ward 3.
Okay, 4-year terms. So it's Ward 1, 2, and 3, Mike, Kelly, and Dan that will be up for election this year. And that would, when would they need to have their,
So that's in the calendar.
On this?
Yeah, the color from the
why is it not jumping out at me?
So,
January 27th, no, yeah.
yeah, right, between January 15th and 30th, we have to publish twice, that of the vacancies, and that's when that first publication will happen. And then the earliest date for candidates to begin circulating will be January 27th. They will need to have those petitions turned back in on Friday, February 23rd.
On what day?
Friday, February 23rd.
February 23rd. And your office is open until what time that day? 5 p.m. Okay, so petitions can be picked up January 27th.
On a Saturday? So I got the wrong calendar.
Yeah, that is a Saturday, yeah.
Oh, wow. Really? Yep. Crazy, that's a misprint. It's gotta be the 26th. It's usually on Friday.
You think that's the date? And you, Carolyn, and you'll confirm that for us.
It's crazy.
I only noticed because I wrote the wrong turn-in date in February. I thought we go in on a Tuesday, not.
No. Okay, all right.
And Carolyn, they're in on February 23rd by 5 p.m.
Yes, that's a Friday. Yeah, it's usually Friday to Friday.
And how many signatures does our,
It's usually around 8 or 9, depending on the ward.
okay, okay, all right. So January 26th, petitions can, is that what they're called, petitions? Can be picked up at the city office then. All right, moving on to, or is there anything more there?
Nope.
Any other questions? Okay. Item 14, Ag Appreciation Event Requests.
This is an event that comes up every year, and these are the requests that they usually make to the city for waiving the community center fees. I don't remember, I guess you guys choose to do your own cleanup. You do that, or
We paid for it last year.
So you did pay for
We
it.
paid your worker.
you just don't pay to use the facility, but you pay to clean up.
I believe that was in our $100 or something, but don't hold me to that, but I thought it was.
So they will pay to clean up.
Somebody didn't show up to the meeting today, but we had a meeting.
I really showed up to work. It was icy, man.
And then they use the police station across the street for grilling. And because of that, they asked to have that street blocked so that they can.
You only use the outside, don't you? Or do you go inside the?
Stuck inside the garage, comes
Gotcha.
out of the weather. Garrett has to come because we make these water alarm go off once in a while.
That's not there anymore, so.
May I ask what date this appreciation event is?
16th of February.
Okay, February 16th, okay.
The time when the agenda was set.
Okay, no problem. Just thought it might be important. Okay, with that being said, do I have a motion then to waive the fees? Request that we use the police, that they can use the police station for grilling and that they block that street off.
I make that one.
Okay, Kelly has moved.
Second.
Stan.
Stan has seconded.
I think so.
I'll abstain, I think,
You're gonna abstain? Okay,
just to be safe.
all right. Any other questions or concerns?
What time does the event start?
5:30.
5:30?
They always come early, but.
Okay, yes, and you have a huge crowd for sure. Okay, seeing no other comments, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Superintendent report, Dr. Pittman. Welcome.
Good to be back. Start out by, I would like to thank you. The law enforcement came in and presented on the fake IDs. It was well received information. As well as I also appreciate they come stop in from time to time and visit with the kids and the staff. They do a great job making themselves known in the school, and the kids are getting to know them too. So I think that's a great relationship. Activities we have going on, we're headed into January, and I'll tell you, even tomorrow, girls and boys basketball doubleheader here starting at 2:30 with Jones County. Our wrestlers are headed to Miller. Our gymnasts are headed to Fort Pierre. That's just tomorrow. So by all means, we're going to go full-fledged activity day after day after day in January. So you can stay up to date on what's going on the school website. The activities are posted there, but we're going to have a busy day tomorrow too. We have FFA is headed to the Denver Stock Show next week, and our FCCLA is headed to Pierre. I left a flyer here for the One Act Play community presentation, which will be next Tuesday at 6 p.m. at the Powerhouse. So please come and support our kids. We had an artificial intelligence and AI training in our in-service here. Let's see, what is it? January 2nd, 2 days ago, we had in-service on artificial intelligence. You guys know that I grew up on a dairy farm, so AI means something different, but learning. But it's, you know, just how to use it wisely. We realize that it is a change in technology that is coming forward, and educators and students are going to need to learn how to handle it appropriately, as well as use it for a learning tool. Parent Teachers Conference will be February 14th and 15th. And during that time, we will have a Title I community meeting, which will be at 4 and 6 p.m. both nights. So there'll be 4 meetings total. So please feel free to join us on that. And I also want to tell you, I really appreciate all the opportunity I've had here in Wall, but next year I will be moving on to Newell School District as the superintendent and high school principal. It's that's where my family is, and I look forward to being closer to my family and be able to see my 2 precious nieces every day, even though they're bullheaded and refuse to say anything except Aunt Candy. So we'll see how that turns out. Thank you all very much, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all that you've done for the Wall school system. To appreciate you.
For letting that facility too.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, chamber report.
So, your community center report for December and January was in your packets. It's mostly just been busy with lots of wrestling going on in there. And they're being pretty awesome. We had some ripples at first, but now we're all getting in the flow of things. So it's working out pretty good. And let's see, chamber stuff. We're doing our big final sweepstakes drawing tomorrow on Facebook Live, and not quite sure yet what time it's going to be. And it's going to be about $3,000, close to $3,000 that we're giving away. So that'll be fun, except for it's going to be really long and it makes me really cringy. So they're getting easier the more you do them, but it's hard. So anyway, so that's going to be nice and fun. So anybody wants to come out, Kelly, absolutely. Darn it. Really? No, I don't. You should share it. Anyways, moving on. Let's see. Our next board meeting is tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. and our next chamber luncheon will be Tuesday at the Salty Sphere at noon. And I think that is all I can think of for right now. Anybody have any questions?
Katie, what date on the next chamber luncheon?
Tuesday. Yes, thank you.
January 9th.
Yeah, it's the 9th, and it'll be at the Salty Steer at noon.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And you do a good job on those face.
Well, they're nerve-wracking.
Well, I get that, but you do a good job, and it's and good job on doing them more often and getting more dollars out there. So great. Lots of good feedback. Okay, economic development.
Okay, hello, everyone. Economic development spent the remainder of 2023 kind of allocating our budget, and we actually didn't use our entire budget. I think a lot of that had to do with this office being empty for half of the year and everything, but that was just kind of what we were focusing on, just to make sure that we were using our money wisely and everything. And then I had my employee review, and I just wanted to kind of start focusing on my personal goals as economic development director for 2024. And one of those is getting inside of some of the businesses here in town that are invested in economic development and focus on business retention and expansion. And so I actually met with the Governor's Office of Economic Development today, and they kind of gave me some pointers on things that they do for, they deal with tons of businesses on a large scale, and just kind of showed me some of their approaches to really making sure that the businesses that are invested in economic development see growth and opportunity, and that it's a place that they can turn to help their business. So that's something I'd really like to focus on in 2024. And then I also had my Rushmore Regional meeting today, which is where all the economic development directors from the western side of the state here get together and talk about different things that are going on in their communities and everything. So that's always interesting. I was invited to the governor's pre-state of the state next week, so I'll be going to the governor's residence in Pierre on Monday and attending that. So there should be some good networking opportunities there, and be interesting to kind of see what all she has planned for the state of South Dakota for the coming year. And we've also had multiple RFIs that have been coming through for the state of South Dakota, and those are site selectors for businesses trying to figure out where they would like to start their business. So I've been responding to those and getting Wall out there. If they think it's a good fit, then they'll respond back and kind of go from there. So we've had quite a few come through just recently, so that's good to see. I guess that businesses are looking at South Dakota and trying to get
Kendall, if I might ask, what does RFI stand for?
either. I was gonna look that up. I was like,
Request for information.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
Cool.
they basically just tell you what they need as a business, and then it goes to the whole state of South Dakota, and everyone has the same opportunity to respond with, like we have our industrial park available and things like this. That might be a good fit for them. So I just get them the information, and then if they think that it is a good location, then they'll follow up with us and everything. So we've had
So like what kind of businesses are looking and like that you've thought maybe were a good fit here?
There were some manufacturing ones that I think would be a good fit for the industrial park, and I kind of look into, you know, how many jobs they're creating, what kind of jobs they would be, and if it's something that's feasible. Some of them are really large scale, would never
Exactly.
work for Wall, but we've had quite a few lately that were smaller scale, that would be good paying jobs that they don't need a ton of workers. So it's something that the town of Wall could definitely.
Is there any way, if there's some way to kind of entice them more to come?
Yeah, I guess I just try to like put, because they'll send you like a list of what their specifics are that they're looking for. So I always try to make sure that if we have those things, that those are right at the very beginning of the response that I send to them and everything, just so that when they look at it right at first glance, they'll be like, oh, they have this and this and this, and this is what we're looking for. So that's kind of my approach to it. And I have met with the Governor's Office of Economic Development for some advice on that as well, just to make it so that they're noticing us, you know, and that's my goal, is to hopefully find one that is a good fit for our town, and it's, you know, something that would work for creating jobs and
you know, hopefully getting some people out into our industrial park specifically.
Do they ask? I've heard in the past they ask for natural gas.
Yes, natural gas is the kicker. So we had a couple come through that didn't need natural gas, so that was exciting to see because we don't have that, so it's not something that we can just pull out of thin air, you know?
Who has it? I mean, I'm just,
Rapid City,
Sioux Falls, of course,
Yeah, rapidly.
the bigger cities.
Yeah.
Montana,
And a
Dakota.
lot of the ones that come through do need natural gas, so it's hard to, you know, I still respond to all of them, but I know that if that's a big need of theirs, then obviously
Is natural gas just way cheaper than propane?
it must be.
Must be.
So, yeah, so.
Yeah, and it's in the ground piped, you know, it's not like you have your own storage tank, it's just like
They just
just like
pipe it to the
Like
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you have a meter on the outside.
So, yep, but there were a few that came through that didn't need natural gas, so that was exciting to see.
And they really kind of fit this area, didn't it?
Yeah,
Didn't they?
yeah.
It was pretty exciting to see those.
Yeah, so.
We watch RFD religiously, and this morning, there was the coolest one where it was a high school kid nerd and his dad who developed a robotic item that you could put in a grain bin, and then it would knock the crust off those bins, and that way it prevents farmers from crawling in there and trying to get that grain to move. They could use this robot. And he has built a company out of this of 7 employees making this robotic. And I thought how perfect that would be if we could get something like that. Exact number of employees that we could handle and a ag product. So those businesses are out there. We've just, like you said, got to keep an eye open, figure out how to incentivize them. And those are happening. Those are real.
Yeah.
So thank you for being on top of those RFIs.
And it's interesting, you know, cause you don't realize how much goes into these manufacturing type businesses and, you know, just like you said, little things like that. There's 7 employees, well, they need a place to do their work, so. A lot of the RFIs that come through are that type of deal where hopefully, you know, one of them will stick and we'll find a good one.
Absolutely.
Is the man from Rapid still interested?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
He's gonna build, yeah.
Yeah, yep, and then, we're still looking for people that are gonna wanna lease his shops and everything, but he's, I think he'll build a condominium of shops out there.
Has he set a date or anything?
I think we close in March, so it should be just a couple more months, and then he'll break ground in the spring, and he hopes to have it up and going by the fall. And then, yeah, I gotta find some people to lease his shops, but I think once they get going.
I think once they see him.
Yeah, it's hard to sell someone a piece of grassy field and ask them if they wanna start their business right there, but it'll get there. And then, yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, and my next meeting is January 24th at 6 p.m. And I do have my new board member in Martin, that was her first meeting that she'll attend, so.
And did economic development move forward on a billboard for the airport?
Yeah, yep, I got a new sign out there for the airport, so I gotta meet that guy tomorrow to get that up out there, so that has kind of the map of the new expansion and everything, so he'll be installing a sign tomorrow.
So what she's referring to is that this layout is gonna be on that, what was the other, Chamber of Commerce billboard. So that when people start coming in, they're gonna be to see what's available to help. And so economic development moved ahead and paid for that expense, right? So thank you for doing that, tell them.
Did they do?
Okay, I was like, I don't know, if you wanted, and then he was like, when you went to do it the whole time, but I thought he was just rapping. I don't know.
Budget signs?
Yeah.
every time he's come, I mean, just, I shouldn't say this, but he's always shows up around 10 o'clock. Okay.
Give me a time, he's like, I'll call you, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay, fine.
the 4 times that he's been up here, it's always like
10 o'clock.
between 10 and 11, so just.
Get my coffee and be ready.
Don't bet on it, but it might be, give you an idea.
Yeah, it's the same guy, so. Any other questions? Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 18 is approve resolution 2401, and that resolution is in front of you, and that's for the City of Wall wages for 2024.
Motion to approve resolution 24-01.
Okay, Dan has moved.
Second.
Rick has seconded. Any questions or thoughts? This was in your packet and you reviewed them. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 19 is resolution 2402. That deals with the water and sewer increase. And so Carolyn, kind of explain that we're on a.
So this is our 3rd year of having kind of substantial increases to our utility rates for the purpose that when we want to get funding for our infrastructure, we have to have our rates at a certain level. And this is the last huge rate. My recommendation going forward is to keep giving minimal rates, you know, like 50 cents or a quarter or something.
Didn't we get quite a bit behind where we were supposed to be able to get the big
Years we did not
raise anything? Then that is,
You can't do that.
with anything, that's a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of made us have substantial rates, but this is the 3rd year, so this will be the last big jump.
Carolyn, does this put a need to be?
Yep, for 5 gallons, it has to be at $55, the water bill. So we're there now.
Very good.
And so what this is basically saying is that the residential would be going to $48 and at the commercial will be $59.50. It also gives the out of city limits rates increases also.
And the sewer.
And the sewer. And the sewer is going to $55 for residential and $62.50 for commercial, right?
Right, so our increments of increasing at because these rates are for 2,000 gallons and our sewer residential is a flat rate. It's not based on gallons like the commercial is, but yeah. So to get, I think it's $2 for each additional 1,000 that they use after that. So it'll put us up to the 5,000 at the level it needs to be.
So Carolyn, just so I understand, so we had 6 years where we didn't raise water and sewer rates, and then we had to do 3 years. We had to take big increases, but the residents and the businesses really had great rates for 6 years, and we're just getting them where we need to have them to get loans. Perfect.
Yep. Are you still gonna be able to give out free ice water?
No, we're gonna have to charge for it. Try to keep that lid on that. I'm kidding. Always be free.
Okay, any other questions? May I have a motion then to approve resolution 2402 to increase base water and sewer fees?
Second.
Kelly moved and Rick has seconded. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, that brings us to the airport farm ground lease agreement that we have with Kerstead Farm Partnership. And it's these documents were in your packet. They have included what they have. First of all, they did subtract for the wheat that was destroyed because of the airport. If you notice that on their statement, under the construction, they lost some wheat, so they deducted that from the lease. And so they have submitted a check to us for $3,176.51. True. And then attached to that also is the land lease agreement between the city of Wall and Kerstead Farms dated January 2024 for this coming year. And this is renegotiated on a yearly basis. Now, something I want to bring to make sure that you're aware that the airport group, which I'll be talking about that in a moment, is thinking that it would be best, and Kirsten's agree, that we move it away from wheat and put it all in alfalfa. And therefore, we would need to be sure that we notify them as of September 1st, 2024. I would encourage Carolyn to put a note in that is in fact our intention to move in that direction.
When I send the agreement back, signed, you're saying?
Yes, yeah. So we give them a heads up right away. But this discussion has already occurred, and I believe Stan was the one that led that discussion. And they did agree. Is that true? Is that true, Stan?
Yes, yep, that is exactly what we've discussed. So, but I think we still got to make sure we let them know by that deadline in the fall.
Absolutely. But giving them notice now would help them for planning stages. So that would just be a step we would want to take.
Terry, not being a farmer, not understanding, why would you go to alfalfa instead of wheat? I don't, is it? I don't understand.
I think a lot of it had to do with the soil areas, some of it's not really good.
Oh.
Kind of flood, not really flood, but water sits there, and so it would grow better. And
okay.
And I think we had really good luck with the hay bids or whatever, and
the hay bids, especially the last few years, have generated a lot of dollars. And we had moisture, so that makes a big difference. So Stan, would you like to help Kelly understand why we're moving or recommending alfalfa over wheat?
Well, I think that, and the soil is not as good there anyway, and Kent had even alluded to that some of that is just not that good to begin with, and be better into alfalfa, plus the chemical when they spray with their big rigs, and the acres just aren't big enough, and it would just, this way it's just alfalfa. You don't have to worry about killing the grass on the airport, and it just makes it, I think it'd just make it simpler, even if we don't make any more money.
Okay. So with that being said, then I would entertain a motion then to approve the land lease agreement with Kerstead Farm Partnership for 2024. Jerry has moved.
Second.
Stan seconded. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right. So that brings us to the mayor report. As I had indicated at the last meeting, there's been a desire to set up what I'm going to call is an airport advisory board. And I have reached out to some people to serve on that particular board, because with the new renovations that we've done at the airport, the new runway, we've got some real opportunities in front of us. And so I've reached out, first of all, representing city council, because it falls under their committee, would be Stan and Rick. Representing the city would be Carolyn, as of course, as airport manager, Garrett as public works, and Katie and Kendall also have volunteered to help with that, and they would be very essential in terms of moving ideas along or getting things accomplished for this board. And the community members that I reached out to are Preston Johnson, Dave Jedlicka, Dale Patterson, Brett Blasius, who said he was interested because he's very interested in economic development. And also to represent ambulance and fire would be Garrett again. So he'll be playing a dual role there. So that group will be meeting. Some of the things that are on their agendas or on their minds, and what is prompted me to move in this direction of setting this group up is an interest in hangars. There is a huge lack of hangars in the West River area. We have opportunity there, trying to put fuel out there. There's been some interest in that. The economic development will be able to use that airport as recruitment for the industrial park. And also we were notified by Travis, the engineer for Mead Hunt, that when he reached out to the federal authorities, they actually moved the hangars up higher on the list. It had been down a ways, but he notified me just this last week that even they believe and realize how badly we need hangars in this area, and that needs to be done sooner than later. And there's kind of an idea on this behalf of this group on how to get that accomplished. He also mentioned that the FAA commissioning flight is going to happen, maybe if the plane doesn't break down, on January 10th at 2:30. So once again, we're going to put the alert out that we could have a very large plane circling. They will not land. They will just drop down, and they're testing the lights and yeah, how to making sure everything works in terms of what has been constructed out there. So the plane that you saw, Jerry, when you were on top of your grain bin or whatever, nobody has any idea what that plane was doing, who it was, or what that was about. So, but there should be one coming in this next week then. So very exciting things moving forward there. There's any other questions? Okay, 4th Avenue funding source. Again, the street committee being has completed with Carolyn's help and has applied for the Red Leg loan, which is through USDA. However, because of the way the quarters are set up and also what's all going on the federal level, it was agreed by the street committee that perhaps what we needed to do is also get in motion the application for REED, which is in a combination with West River Electric. So Carolyn and I are working together to get the application completed on or before January 13th, submitted to the REED senior analyst, I believe, is what her title is, analyst. And then that will be ready for the January West River Electric Board. What I need from you folks tonight is a consensus of the council that we can, in fact, move forward in completing this consensus or this application. And then if it's approved, we will need to come back to you and get approval for that. So would I have consensus on behalf of the council to seek, it is a low interest loan, not a no interest, but it's low interest. And it will help us get 4th Avenue completed. Would I have that consensus?
We really need to hit the funding levels. We need to go forward with the project.
And the council also has to understand that we will, we are limited to a $2 million loan. And of course, we all know that that estimate exceeds that our contract bid. And so there will have to be dollars used from the city in order to fill that gap. And that was also my very reason for saying tonight that we have to be focused on this particular project and be very stringent with our dollars as we move forward. So the focus has got to stay tight because of the cash that will be needed to fill that gap. Any other questions or concerns there? And Katie, please reflect that there was a consensus. Stan, did I see you shake your head yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay, all right, just wanted to be sure. I couldn't hear that shaking part. Okay, and then I wanted to remind us too that on January 10th, also at 1 o'clock is our next planning and zoning meeting. And that should be our wrap-up meeting to complete that zoning ordinance. So we did have to postpone some meetings in December. So January 10th is our next planning and zoning. I want to be sure that public knows that they can come the first 10 minutes and have input. They can stay but not have input after the first 10 minutes. That agenda will be posted on Monday. Okay, with that being said, that completes my mayor report. So that moves us into Carolyn. Would you like to talk to us about your report?
Yes. So we have 5 of the 7 lots in the Hanson subdivision have been sold. And we have received the percentage that the agreement was set up for on that. 2 lots have been sold in Echo Valley that we have received our percentage of. So people are moving right into the housing that we provided here in school, which is exciting.
Carolyn, is that the one in the Echo Valley? Is that the one that include the one that's being built now?
No.
Oh, so these are 2 new ones. Oh, awesome.
No, anything along Stone Drive do not count as Echo Valley lot. We don't get a part of that. So these are 2 lots on the far side of that development. And if I might add, speaking, I hope some of you take a drive out to our end of town. It is exciting out there. Stangles have now just very nearly completed a large double car garage to their house.
Bigger than their house.
It is. They notice that too. They may switch someday, and right next to that, Trent Poulos has got all kinds of equipment in there, and they are building their, what would you call that, Garrett? It's not a basement, it's their a crawl space, and that is a stick-built house that's going in there. And of course, the other 2 lots that are on the south side of Jacob Billmeyer's governor's home, those have been also sold, and that governor's house was supposed to be here by January 1st, so it may be showing up soon. Sometimes they miss their date by a day or 2. So we have got some exciting things accomplished out there by the dollars that you as a city invested in getting those streets, Kelly Avenue extended and Gloria Street built, is giving us immediate results, and we'll see that soon in Echo Valley, I believe. Excuse me for interrupting you.
We have that report on we live out there. So, and then our response on the first round of the lead pipe survey, we received 91 responses on them, and they all received their credit billing cycle that.
Wow.
Christmas is the wrong time to do it. We forgot.
So, and other people have been calling about it as well. So I don't know how we'll end up with how many left before stats will be, but people are doing it. So that's good.
$30 off your water bill makes it seem like, I was like, man, I must have been conserving water this
And then I included in your packet, I just got the email today on it, the registration for the rib supper, which also includes my municipal league board meeting on that 6th. And then there was supper that night where you can talk to your, and visit with your legislators. And that is a stay over for anybody that wants to, but for me, that the municipal league pays for, the next day is a day that we go to the Capitol and sit in on some committee meetings and stuff. It's always kind of fun.
And that's February 6th? Okay. Yes, I would like to attend that.
Okay. I will be reaching, I mean, I provided you with the information. If you guys want me to book a room for you or purchase your meal for the rib supper, let me know. What did it say? I think I have to know. I definitely need to know by the next meeting. I'll check that again and I'll be reaching out, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys had it in your mind and whether that would work for you or not. So can't find that email that I printed out right now. But. And then January 8th, so that's coming up Monday, we have set the meeting with the school committee, the city committee, and law enforcement on how we might have more of a presence at the school. With then hiring an SRO, the school board had asked to meet with everybody to see what we could do, because we were confronted by a citizen at our last board meeting to hire an SRO at the school. Board is not on board with that. So
but
trying to address other
and I worked on that when we were, the city council was trying to promote it, and Marty worked hard on that. And so is the school board more receptive to having a police presence? I mean,
we're more receptive to just having them out there to do walkthroughs, but as you heard in the discussion tonight, it seems like they're already doing that. But
well, I think that's good. I think that's so they can be out on the grounds and in the building, and yeah, I think that's great.
Just have that discussion that, you know, it is appreciated, and that's
Because the school board chose to hire an administrator as opposed to a resource officer when that decision was made.
Reasons for hiring an administrator. We were without for a while, but that was
right.
And really the school not being receptive to having a SRO, and the city council did work really hard on that. It helped push us to go to a 4th officer, which I think is awesome.
It was a good move.
Yeah, really good move.
So that meeting is at 5:15. So I did get that set up. And then January 18th is going to be the meeting with Prairie Village. They reached back out to me. I just am needing to nail down the time of the day, but I've got that finalized yet, but we will be meeting January 18th. I
took any pictures to do that, I'll send you.
Okay.
For that meeting.
Okay. And let's see, I believe that is.
Carolyn, excuse me. What was the date of that meeting?
At Prairie Village?
No, the police one.
Oh, Monday, the 8th.
Monday the 8th.
The 18th will be at Prairie Village. But like I said, I just need to get the time set. One other thing, I guess I just was going to comment. So we had the street committee involved in a meeting that the DOT has hired an engineering firm to do a study on the cross interchanges and the, call them the overpasses of the interstate. They are starting to reach their life expectancy, and they're trying to decide if they replace them all or if there's some that they can do without. And Rick attended with me on that meeting and this morning, and it was very interesting. This is just kind of the start of it. They were meeting with the county. Stan was on the Zoom call with that as well. They will be, we were supposed to be meeting with the county this afternoon on a virtual call. And they will be having public meetings that would involve farmers, ranchers of this area that would be affected. So just wanted to give you, I think I included this map in your packet so you could see it a little better. But
Mine's always upside down.
do you have any more to comment, Rick or Stan, on this?
You know, I thought it was, well, I thought it was a lot more interesting than I thought it was gonna be. I mean, it was a great meeting and we should pay attention to what they're gonna do because they'd like to eliminate some of the exits. And it's, I don't know, it sounds like some of ours might be in jeopardy, like maybe the Jensen Road one. It's, what is it now? Crooked Creek Road?
Yeah, they've changed it about 3 times. Shells was telling me how they have a hard time keeping up with the changes up for a minute.
But some of those things are gonna have big impact and Carolyn, you'll keep us posted on when those meetings are. It's very interesting and it's really going to affect lives as far as emergency services and farmers and ranchers getting across the interstate that have property on both sides. And one thing they said too, that maybe some of them, they would leave the overpass there, but eliminate the ramps. That's an option, and they're just trying to save money. And then they said one of the ramps was kind of interesting in the state, or no, one of the exchanges in the state had 17 cars per day, and they studied it, and it was the same 4 people. I mean, 4 people made those anyway. But I suppose that might be in jeopardy.
And the other the other thing which I never did catch unless I just missed it, they really didn't indicate how long they're going to be studying this. If they're talking about decisions that'll happen 5, 7, 10 years down the road. Did you, Carolyn or Rick, get a feel? They never, I think somebody asked the question, but I don't know that they really answered.
They didn't really know.
But if you know, if people are concerned in their exit, those public meetings, I think would be good to attend. I plan on it.
Yes, it is something you pay attention to because otherwise it sneaks by you and then you're thinking, how the heck did that happen? So thank you guys for being involved in that.
Actually, I just received the call on Tuesday about it. And when I was talking with them, I said, so what dates are you talking about? Well, Thursday. Like, that's 2 days away.
Yeah.
So didn't get a lot of advance notice, but thank goodness Stan and Rick were able to get in on it.
And my understanding on the map that the exits in green were safe for now. Of course, like some of ours, the 109, 110, huge amount of traffic. So we really need those in place.
Okay. All right.
See, you're saying that, Rick, that exit 101, which is Jensen Road, that would shut off Shells and they'd have to go to Wasta to get back to their ramps. It's just barely.
No, it's asinine, and it's also cut across from interstate to scenic. And so, no, that's a case where some engineers are sitting in an office and have no clue.
Like those got a place them and
well, and then I asked about the Bigfoot Road and like Crooked Creek Road, 52 trips per day. And I thought, Bigfoot Road, who goes down there? 62 trips a day. So that must get used too.
We're not a very populated area, but 52 trips a day is very important to some people.
Yeah, it's kind of a shortcut for people going to interior.
Yeah, and there's a lot
all the way to.
There's a lot of truck traffic goes down.
The Bigfoot Road. Interesting.
that come from Highway 14, drop down the interstate, or coming from, you know, the east with grain or feed or whatever, and they go north.
Well, and those people that use that Crooked Creek interchange, you know, if they just made it an overpass, they would be having to go through Wasta, I would think, to catch the interstate. And, I mean, Wasta is gonna get tore up with.
On that road, so rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think it'd be quicker for the fire department to get to the top of Jensen Hill.
Oh.
Or going down the interstate, I think, I'm not in truck
Oh, yeah.
underwater, but I mean, to go around the other way, I would think it would take quite a while, but.
What is the benefit from eliminating?
Millions of dollars. A new bridge, and they're hitting the end of the life cycle of the bridges, 10 to 20 million. So if somebody,
Then I don't care about inconveniencing.
well, you know, they do, and they're listening, but if one was, just didn't have hardly any traffic, they're gonna try to close it.
And then you get up there and you look at some of these others, you know, 88, 90, 84. That's a totally different situation than us. They've got, on the north side, they've got the black and yellow trail. That is a very nice gravel road. They've got the old highway on the other side. So, I mean, they've got good roads to get them to the next exit. You go down here, there is no. I mean,
That's right.
you take out Cedar Butte. There's no way for them to get there other than go back around and come into town from the other way.
Yeah.
Because those are all just section line roads.
Both Fox Elder and New Underwood were very concerned with it, you know, I mean, they spoke a lot.
They did, yeah.
And the ones up, you know, along Wicksville and that area, so much track, you know, farm equipment that's their only way to get. They've got land on both sides of the interstate. That's the only way.
That's
they can
right,
get
because
there.
you're not supposed to be on interstate with farming equipment, so.
And you brought it to Gary, you go north of Woodlock. Sometimes you can take an exit and go straight north, but this way you'd have to go all the way to Wonderwood. You know, back around some of those.
Yep.
Something to be aware of.
Okay, well, thank you. Garrett, would you,
Well,
excuse-
on the road thing. And I agree, I'm not very observant, but we don't have a wall sign on our interstate. They've changed it to Glen Street again. It doesn't say exit wall, it's Glen Street. And I know when they first put the signs up way back when, they did the same thing, but then they came back and plastered wall on it. But we're back to Glen Street again. And I think that's not good.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Very
I
observant.
just noticed it lately. It's in December coming home.
so who needs to contact who about that?
It's DOT, wouldn't it be?
I'll do some research tomorrow. Get back to you.
Because I don't like that, if you wanna give.
If you're
I think,
on-
I remember years ago, and the chamber kind of got involved because when they originally put those signs up, and then the chamber kind of got involved and, you know, asked the question why wall wouldn't be on them, and then they did change them, and I guess I didn't realize they switched them back. Huh.
So Garrett and Katie, will you get on that and get a handle on that then? Okay? All right, thank you for bringing that up, Kelly. I hadn't noticed that.
When they, whatever day it was, Christmas Day, decided to close the interstate, I was in Rapid. And I took the bypass and there was a sign. We just heard they were gonna close. They didn't say when, but we hit that bypass. There was one sign on the bypass road that's going to be closed at 8 o'clock. And when we hit the interstate, no mention of any closures of wall. And I thought that was kind of odd, because if they would have put a sign up, people could have turned around at Ellsworth Air Force Base and got back to a community that can support that many people. It just struck me as odd that I never seen any. The only sign I seen, of course, I came off that business loop, was was there warning me, and that was clear up before you got to McDonald's, so it said something, but the interstate was gonna be closed, but I would think they put something close to Ellsworth that the road was closed 50 miles east, so you might wanna think about staying put rather than getting out in the middle of it. No, I just, it's surprising that I never seen anything.
I think a lot of times they have people stationed at some of those too. You know, cause I know they sometimes have people sitting out here so they can't move back around.
I know they had them here when I got here.
Okay. Any other comments? Garrett, would you like to give your public works report, please?
Well, we had our first snowstorm and we had a new guy, so it was a little different, a lot of learning, and I think we did a pretty good job. One thing I think we need to work on is keeping up with our sidewalk cleaning on Main Street. We had a couple businesses that didn't. One was like a 3-foot drip, and people couldn't get, you know, through the mail or anything. So I think we need to figure out a way that we can put our foot down and I mean, we can go do it, but how are we gonna get it paid for?
Which I took one of the complaints and called, I believe you answered, and I said, I'll call them. It is very irritating. Sorry, we have businesses that just come here in the summer and then they don't seem to take care of it. They don't care about our local elderly people trying to get to the post office. And my one complaint said I gotta walk clear out in the middle of the street to get around to get into the post office. And
that street's really clean though.
Yes, it was. And when do we take you guys off the roads to go and shovel a walkway that is?
Yeah, it's 12 hours after the storm stops that it's supposed to be clean.
it was both sides of the post office, I believe.
Yes. Yep. And we did go over some and open it up so people could get through.
Well, first I want to say thank you to all the businesses that did clear and the residents that cleared those. But we definitely have some that are not. And so I believe what Garrett is asking is what action can and should we take then to be sure that we do not have both sides of the post office in particular covered up? What is a usual procedure?
Haven't we tried stuff before with them, Carolyn?
And I did make a phone call to both business owners about it, and the one said they had been sick and hadn't gotten out to do that, and the other one said they thought they had someone lined up and was going to make a phone call, but I don't believe anybody came to do that before these guys got things cleaned up. So I usually try to make the courtesy call just because, you know, I think out of sight, out of mind, you know, when you're not here to see the snow and that. But yeah, going forward, I don't know.
Because it seems like we've billed them and then they don't pay, isn't, yeah.
We don't have a way. I mean, I can try and reach out, since we do have a new auditor at the county office, to see if they would be willing to allow us to assess their property taxes of the bills. The past one did not allow for us to do that, even though I guess it's in state statute, they're supposed to.
Wait, we have a state statute that says you can do that?
Yeah, but everybody's like, who's gonna fight the state statute? I mean, you can, yeah, it's been a conversation, lots of meetings of how we deal with. Some counties are good, others are like pulling teeth to get them to follow the state statute.
Okay.
So, but I've never reached out to the new one to see. So I would be willing to do that to see, you know, if we can assess their taxes on it, if we do have it done and they don't pay, you know, and find out what kind of time frame. And Cause I'm sure there's a deadline of when I'd have to get it submitted so that they can be put on the tax roll. I don't know what that time frame is, so.
Old one, was that Slayer, Barbara? Janet?
She was the treasurer. Cindy Muller is the, do I have that right? I get the emails. Know who I'm talking to that way. So I can do that and bring back some information for next meeting.
Okay, let's do, because what happened was not acceptable. We need to count on all of our businesses to come through for us. And if they won't, then we will have our city people do it, but we need to be reimbursed for that. So that would be our expectation. Then we will come up with a way to get that money collected, because we're not doing that as a service. We've got a lot of other snow to move besides in front of a couple of particular businesses. Okay, any other comments on that or anything else in public?
So we got the loader that we leased from Richmond Equipment. I called him the day after Christmas and he had it there that afternoon. So he's great to work with. Just
awesome.
And we got the new skid steer. Wish we would have got one of those a long time ago. Really handy, way more power, and
It looks bigger. Does it have more lift capacity? And
it's about the same, but more. It just seems like there's more pushing power. I don't know if it's just because of the tracks and
what is it?
Because it works.
Oh, all that too.
What are the tracks made out of?
They're just rubber.
Rubber.
Yeah, and they make 2 different kinds, and they said this is probably the best for snow. And I never really. I mean, this morning when it was at spots where it's kind of the snow had sat and froze and icy, I had a little trouble, but other than that, I mean, I think I probably put 20 hours in it this week. So
wow, good time to get a new one that works.
Yeah, and we'll probably have to update the snow equipment like the blade and stuff because I used our Bobcat one on it and I just about destroyed it because there's so much more power, when you're pushing stuff. It just bends everything. I mean, didn't destroy it, but it's definitely got a few bends in it that it didn't have. So when I look into getting prices and in the budget I had for a 1-ton pickup for sanding streets, and that got sold from the surplus, so should be able to use some of that.
So you might be able to use those dollars and.
Yeah.
Because remember, our budget is tight this year.
Yeah.
We're being conservative.
So, no, and I don't have anything else.
Okay. All right, very good. Is there item number 24? Any items for discussion? No action will be taken?
I just have a question. We don't have, I'm talking about beautification. There is a huge star made out of rebar. And I'm sure it's the city's, but it's kind of now into our stuff. We don't use it because it's hard to move. Can I get an okay to reach out to maybe Wastaquin or something and see if they would like to use it? Because we haven't used it since I've been on it, the committee, 20 years.
It used to be on top of the water tower.
Yeah.
We looked at it.
Yeah.
Kelly and I talked about putting it up on the end of our grain bin, but
it's heavy.
I was told it was 20 pounds.
I'm good with weight. Probably 300 pounds.
Close.
Is that the one that's got the 2 braces?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knutson and I built that years ago.
Really?
It's made well, but it's too heavy to move.
So how'd you get it on top of the water tower?
We didn't put it up there. I think there was a smaller one that used to be up there.
Oh,
We put it down Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
one had
it's
the
a smaller
braces.
one of the towers?
It was on the water, the smaller one was, yeah, they put it up there, you crawled, backed it up there with a rope. Wow.
Okay, so her question is, can she offer it to another community?
Do you mind, Dan? I'm sorry.
I got enough stuff on my property.
I guess I'm okay with you offering it to another community if you figure out how we are gonna get a great big tall Christmas tree, real one, up someplace.
We tried that a couple of years ago.
I don't want to talk about that.
What, Modern Woodman gave us a tree,
A real live tree?
a real life tree. We planted it up on the boulevard and it did not last.
Oh, wow. I'm talking like one they haul into the Capitol in Pier. You cut one down someplace and you put it up.
Mary,
What?
And how,
remember our budget.
I would,
There's cedar trees all around Wall.
the problem is, Mary, is that Boulevard,
Oh, I don't think
Winds.
that's a good place for it.
no.
I'm just saying, you work on it and
I've gotta talk to Garrett.
Is there a spot by the library where it'd be a little more protected and easier to keep from falling over?
It definitely, to the north,
okay,
yeah.
all right. So does she have consensus to give the very nice Christmas tree that Dan and,
We looked at an artificial tree a couple years ago and there wasn't like
yeah, it was ridiculously
12,000,
high.
13,000 or
Yeah,
something like
no,
that.
not when you have cedar trees all over
Yeah.
this country. So, anyway, just a thought. So can she give the other one away? Okay, all right, there you go. But you know the deal. Okay, moving.
Working on a tree for years, Mary. I can't come up with one.
Okay, so then item number 25. Approve, do we need a motion to? Okay, I'd like a motion to change the January 18 meeting because of the tourism conference to January 23rd,
Monday.
Tuesday.
One of you, oh.
Do you have the right year?
Yes, I looked at the wrong days. I'll make that motion.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded, and Kelly seconded to change the January 18 council meeting to January 23rd. All those in favor say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, okay? Do we have a reason for executive session tonight? Very good. Is there any other? Okay, with that, seeing none then, I call this meeting adjourned. And no, Stan, I didn't do as good as what Rick did last time.